And hello, happy Friday. I guess y'all figured out that with the candles and the cupcakes and the things, it's somebody's birthday. And actually, it's going to be the weekend of Allison because her birthday's on Sunday, but we're celebrating today. So happy birthday, little senorita. Actually, senora.
Thank you. It's funny you say that because for my 40th birthday, we did Cinco de Allison.
Yes.
Probably top 5 most fun nights of my life. So much fun. Like 30 of us ended up at Waffle House at like 3 a.m. Kids, parents. It was so much fun. And it's just kind of been downhill since then. I don't even know how old I'm turning. Hold on.
30.
26. 26.
That's it. She's 26.
Because I remember.
Happy birthday.
But now I'm 26.
I remembered you were 3 years older than me. So that's what I remember.
Obviously.
Actually, if you go by Spotify, I'm several years younger than you.
Yeah, you're a few years younger than me.
It's
and I
shocking.
could be your grandfather.
Yeah. I mean, obviously. All right. And before we have today, I got to fix the hair because today's the day. Also, it's Allison's birthday. Okay. So that's number one, uno, most importante is that day. So it will be a celebration all day.
They can't even see the cupcakes. They even brought me cupcakes.
And you're going to have to open the goodie bag on the air too.
Okay.
Stuff.
See,
so
ladies, let me also just make a recommendation that obviously we don't want you to pursue JP, but if you DM'd him, it's okay. He'll make a great husband. All right.
Abs.
I'm just saying.
Where's this
because he's sweet and thoughtful.
Allison and ladies.
Well,
slide into
it
those
may or
DMs.
be that he did the goodie bag on his own and he's
No
very
way.
thoughtful. Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to let you know, ladies, that you're going to have to go through us, but you can reach out to us if you're interested in him. Okay, I'm just putting that as an aside because he's a genius. But right now we focus on Allison.
Oh, thank you.
So we have Allison's weekend celebration starting today. We're kicking it off. And I declare from now on that when it's one of our birthdays and it's kind of close to a weekend, you get the whole weekend. Okay. And if it's like on a Monday, you get the whole week. It's just the way it's going to be. All right. Numero uno. Number 2, I do have the word of the day, which is great. We're going to tour around Twix. We have Clown World. We have something so amazing. Can't hardly stand it. And it's going to happen in a few minutes.
Are you going to tell them? So they, like you can't.
Allison?
You need to tell them so they don't go to the bathroom.
Caitlin Bussey. Yes, you know the name Bussey, Bill Bubba Bussey. Well, Caitlin, who's now based in DC doing all the things, is going to join us for cultural commentary, hot goss, and basically what in the world is going on in DC.
How about that?
Caitlin Bussey. And you know who that's thanks to? This darling girl right here. So the Bussey Brief debuts. It is a recurring segment. It shall debut at 10:30. So whatever you're doing, get it done now. This is kind of like the Super Bowl. You go to the bathroom during the game so you can watch the commercials. It's like that, but better. So she'll be on with us at 10:30. Just get in, just for a raucous good time. Caitlin Bussey for the Bussey
Stop
Brief.
smiling because like y'all are going to love her. Look, Bubba, if you're watching, love you. But once I got to know Caitlin, I was like, all right, we'll do Bubba for a podcast or something.
Oh, yeah. Please, sir.
Caitlin needs her own day. She is amazing. Y'all are going to love her. I cannot wait for y'all to meet her. 10:30. So yeah, go get your snacks, go to the potty, and be ready for a really good time. She actually, well, no, I won't spoil it. Okay. We'll come back to that.
And that just kicks off we're booked a couple weeks out, but Caitlin gets her own day, which is Friday. That's just the beginning of wanting to tell you that we've got some great things in store, but the Bussey Brief, this is special. This has like jazz hands and lights around it. This is ta-da. That's all. All right. So there's that.
She's not even on. I'm already laughing. Are we going to go over the almost names for the
No,
segment?
no, we are not.
I think we keep that one in the loop.
This is where Mama comes in
Okay,
and says,
Let's do the day. The
or
word of the
honey,
day.
honey says, no mo.
That-
Okay.
Okay.
And there's a lot to talk about in the news. Even though it's a Friday, there's a lot of fabulous news out there. So we're so glad you've tuned in. Seriously, there are some things we're almost finished with thanks to the help of one young man. Also, thanks to Allison. And so just stay tuned because next week there's going to be other goodness. But for now, before we take a look around Twix and before we perhaps get to the montage, though I doubt it, I need to tell you that the word of the day is a word I've never heard of before.
Wow. And you're a wordy.
You're a wordy.
I love words.
Is that a thing?
You're a worder.
Words are fun.
You're a wordsmith.
I don't know if I'm a wordsmith, but my dad had to memorize a bunch of words so he could pass one of his graduate school exams. And so they decided that we would like words.
Okay, don't tell us the word. Give
Okay,
us the
the word
definition.
of the day is blank. It starts with a B. You're never going to get this. Online, listen, Brad from Crimestone, if you get this word,
Right.
I'm going to be shocked. It is a noun. Everyone, it is a noun.
All right. What is a noun? A person, place, thing,
Or idea. Red rum. Referring to the ancient Celtic May Day festival celebrated with bonfires and revelry. See, it's like we planned it. Usually falling halfway between the spring equinox and summer solstice.
The Balfour Festivus.
Balfour. That's the Balfour Declaration.
Is that not what is that?
The Balfour Declaration is when Lord Balfour of England said that the Jews can come to Palestine. In
Well, that's
1917.
it. It happened in Scotland too.
It's close.
What?
It's a B.
Oh
What?
wait, it's Celtic. It's Irish.
Celtic.
Would you have think that I've heard this word before?
Yes.
You've heard it? We've heard it?
No, you have not.
How is he?
So maybe not.
Because you're a historian.
It's the
Mm,
Bussy Declaration.
It's B. It's B.
Well, you told us that.
And it's got an E in it as well.
The
Y'all ready?
wait, say the definition one more time.
It is a noun referring to the ancient Celtic May Day festival celebrated with bonfires and revelry, usually falling halfway between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. It's the kind of word you want if you still play Trivial Pursuit or the game Balderdash.
Balderdash.
That's such a fun game.
Okay. The Belfast.
You're close. All right, I'm going to tell you the
Go ahead.
suffering is over. Beltane.
I've never heard that word.
Beltane.
I was
Beltane. This is, you just throw this around so that you feel fancy. And you can just ask people while you're out in a boat today. Out in a boat. Do you know that it's Beltane
So
today?
May 1st is Beltane Day.
Basically,
The
the Celtic May Day festival. The word of the day is Beltane, and it refers to the Celtic May Day festival. That's all. It's just, I don't even know how you use it in a sentence. Oh, here it is. On May 1, we celebrate what began as the ancient Celtic holiday of Beltane.
Yeah, but okay. I don't know how often we would use that.
Yeah, that's pretty specific.
You're not going to like the other word of the day. You're just not.
But what about the Gen Z word of the day? Should we just play that clip that I sent you all from my friend who got the idea from?
Well, I need to go in and censor it first.
All right,
before
hold
we
on.
play it.
Wait,
Hold
there
on.
are bad words in it.
Several.
It's a bad Jesus.
Wait, no.
Okay.
No, I was thinking
Hold
of
on.
the one
All
from
right,
the
guys.
scrub
All right.
Okay, that
Hey,
one's good.
I
What?
got a better word, and it's because we weren't here yesterday.
Okay.
It's a formal word that means, and this is us.
Interlocutor.
Yes.
I saw it.
No.
Interlocutor.
Oh, locutor. I
Hold
meant
on. Interlocutor.
Interlocutor.
It means it means one who takes part in dialogue or conversation. That's us.
That's what we are interlocutors.
locutor.
Locutors.
Interlocutor.
Okay.
Since no one liked my word of the day, and it's fine. Merriam-Webster, I blame you. It's fine.
You want to know
I'm not hurt.
the
What?
We'll do the Gen Z word of the day. This one's
Smack it
funny.
on a bing bong.
Not quite.
Toilet Sigma Riz?
Not quite.
No
That's
cap.
3 words. No.
Um,
You're not
all
going to
right.
get this one.
Okay, what is it?
Clock it.
Dank.
Oh, dank memes. Our daughter used to send us dank memes all the time.
That sounds wrong.
If something is dank, it's excellent or of very high quality.
Oh,
I thought it meant like dank and dusty.
I thought it meant like musty.
When they say like dank memes, that's just like it's just that within itself became a term of just like funny memes, funny videos.
So like really good.
Dank.
Yeah. Whenever we
Dank.
would travel to like long sporting events, we would just in the back of the bus just YouTube dank memes and just watch dank memes.
Stop.
But dank.
All right, so that's back. Let me translate. You know, in the 80s when we would say that's bad,
Yes.
but it meant good.
Yes. That's what we mean.
That's what we mean.
We still
Thank
use
you.
that. Well,
I love this word.
and when it comes to like,
She's bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
She is hot.
Use bad in a
Dank.
derogatory way.
Dank.
She bad.
This
She a
is
baddie.
Excellent. Yes.
Heard that one before.
I love it.
You have?
Well,
Is that what you said?
yeah. Wait.
Oh, I thought you meant like
not
somebody
about
said that to
me.
you.
No, my son and all of his friends.
Oh yeah.
Who sometimes forget I'm a mom. Connor, talking to you. He's probably watching. He's part of this whole Bussy brief thing. By
Hey,
the way,
Connor.
we'll get to that part.
Morning, friends.
But yeah, I've seen lots of baddies, especially when we go to Tuscaloosa.
Oh, boy,
yeah.
they are
There's nothing but bad.
smoking hot.
God, I miss it.
Man, it's just not even right. You just walk around, you're like, was everybody pretty? No.
You know,
We were not like that.
You know when
No, we were not.
when I sat there and I was like, I made up my decision, like I need to leave and take a break from school, and then I had to be like, but wait.
The smoking hot babes.
You didn't like him anyway. You said you didn't like any of the sorority girls, and
Well, okay. Well, I was smart enough not to.
JP.
I like to. I'm not gonna say
Okay.
that. That looks bad. That sounds
Okay,
bad.
let's go back. I'd rather talk about your 6th grade kiss at this
That
point.
was
Speaking of Alabama, did y'all watch last night? Did anybody watch the Alabama baseball game?
I did not.
Allison, you are the only one who watches baseball. I only watch it when it's the last game of the whole entire year in October.
Well, it was just on when we were flipping through. They were playing Vanderbilt, and
Ooh.
it was kind of cool because Matthew Heiberger, who's one of their really good pitchers,
Yes, from
that
Oak
went to Oak
Mountain.
Mountain, he was pitching left-handed pitcher, probably going to get drafted this year. He just was so good.
Man.
But it was like tied going into the last inning. He had a no-hitter, and then Alabama had a walk-off home run and won. And it was awesome. So I was really happy for him. But Alabama's kind of coming back. They were not doing so well at the beginning of the
I'll
season.
have to watch.
Yeah.
I forgot about Matthew. And also, Matthew is an amazing basketball player.
He is a really good
He
basketball player.
can jump. A kid can jump.
Yeah.
But some people just have all that.
SEC tournament here in Hoover 2 weeks.
Anybody going to give
we
us
should
seats?
go.
Hi. We're
Yeah,
taking sponsored
Let's
seats.
go. Oh, JP would stay with us. He wouldn't leave us if we got him baseball tickets.
We have a friend.
Oh yeah.
Do we?
We have a friend, and I bet he would help us.
Well,
I'm not going to say his
let's
name out
reach out
loud,
to that friend.
but that friend, if you could help us get some tickets or maybe in the box so we don't have to sit in the sun.
Fancy pen.
The SEC tournament's fun. It's a fun.
I've never
heard
been.
it's
You've
very
never
fun.
been?
And
No.
it's right here in our
I
backyard.
think
Never
I've been twice, maybe 3 times. It's fun.
Okay, well, that's
What
exciting.
makes it fun?
Because it's just like all the different fans. It's like a thing you go all day for, and well, not really all day, but like, go at lunch and then you watch a game, one more game, and then there's the night game. But it's like all the different fans, it's not like one or the other. And there's plus a big like SEC hub of like merch, but also like basketball
That's
hoops, all this
fun.
stuff.
It's like a
is
festivus.
fun.
We got to
Yeah.
go. Last year, I remember passing the Tennessee baseball bus.
hey, we could do the show from there. You
Yes.
know, I'm all about that we can travel now. We should go do the
Yes.
show from there, and we could do like a whole interview with Hoover City Council and give them the props they want, and then maybe we'll get invited to the box.
Okay.
I wish we knew somebody on the Hoover City
We do.
Council.
We know
It's
2
funny.
people, and I bet that they would help us. Hey, SOS. All right, JP, why
Mhm.
don't we take a quick tour around Twitter?
Oh wait,
And there's some good news out of
What?
Alabama, by the way, like really good news that we were waiting on.
What's the wait?
can I just update? I told y'all this morning, but can I update our listeners, viewers, that we will be quilling on May 19th? It's not funny. It's so serious. I got confirmation from a former Secretary of State yesterday that we will not be put in handcuffs as long as we are 30 feet away. We can pitch a tent.
Okay.
We can tailgate. I forgot about the actual quilling part to ask about that. We might have
Will
to
be
have
great.
like grape juice.
You forgot about the alcohol.
Yeah, I forgot. You
Oh.
know, we say quilling, but we're really not.
Oh, I know what we can do. I found a setup on Pinterest a couple of days ago. We'll do lemonade.
All right, so we're gonna do lemonade, but we're gonna be somewhere
Bring your
at one
flask.
of the polling precincts in Shelby County. Y'all, if you are there, you should come by, come see our table, come hang out at our tent. Abs already has the chandeliers for our tailgate, hottie toddy, and it's gonna be awesome.
No,
So-
and we're dead serious. We'll just let you know the location. And Allison's going to pick which one of the things I sent you videos of you want to use. Come. We're starting a movement. Okay? Because we want election day to be a whole thing.
Do you remember what the movement's called?
Quilling.
No.
Make something.
MIFA.
MIFA, that's it.
Made elections fun again.
MIFA.
You know, the cornerstone of our purpose here at Rightside Media is to get you hammered going into the polls and the
it
election.
has
I
nothing
said
to do.
lemonade.
We don't even have to have a drink, even though they did that in England. I'm just saying we might as well make it a community event instead of like, oh, gotta go stand in line and all I get is a stupid sticker. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna set up interviews. We're gonna talk to the people. I'm gonna give Abs her little fuzzy microphone, and y'all are gonna go and talk and interview. It's gonna be awesome.
Who did you vote for? And why did you vote for them?
Well, and the
Exit
other
polls.
To do
thing
that.
that
Exit
if
polls.
anybody needs to, text in the text line that day and get things off their chest, you
Oh.
can call in with your a fake name under a pseudonym. The worker name, we like to say, the first street you grew up on, and it's your dog, your first pet's name, and the street you grew up on. Okay. And you combine those two and come up with your worker name so that you can just let it fly on text and nobody's going to know who you are. And you're gonna maybe have some hot goss. You need to spill the tea.
Like candidate X is crying in the corner.
Yeah. Candidate Y thought they'd never win and oops, they made the runoff. That kind of thing.
Can I?
We'd like to open up those lines to you right now, remembering that we all have names and you should have yours.
Can I give a real quick update on the strip club candidate sign?
Oh my gosh.
Please.
By the way, I shared your picture and video with the right people.
With said candidate
No.
or people around?
No, the surrounding people. Go
Well,
ahead.
okay, so I'll just say I pulled over yesterday while going to Huntsville and propped up the candidate picture because it was still there and took a picture of it in front of the strip club and sent it into the group chat.
Wait, you got to tell everybody because if they weren't listening the
Okay,
other day,
well-
they don't know what you're talking about.
Pretty much, long story short, I saw a candidate sign in front of a strip club by my house in Huntsville, and I passed it twice. And the last time I passed it, it was no longer sitting up; it was laying down, facing up. So then, going back up, I literally pulled over off the parkway and propped it up, took a picture of it in front of the strip club. Well, and you could see him in the background of the picture. As I'm taking the picture on the balcony, there's two workers standing there talking.
Workers?
And yes. And
Wait,
they're
workers?
workers.
Do they
the
have
name?
clothes
like
on?
The
They had clothes on them.
wait, like
Yeah, they were workers.
I thought you meant like construction workers.
No, workers
JP.
standing on the balcony.
Ooh.
And I took the picture. And what's funny is I took the picture and I started to giggle because it was funny. And I look up and they're on the balcony and they're pointing at me. And they're pointing at me. And I panicked. And I literally took the sign and there was a big ditch right in front of me. I took the sign, I threw it in the ditch, and I ran to my car.
What did you think they were going to do to you?
I don't know, but like,
assault you?
but what was really, I already know, I felt like I had eyeballs on me because as I was setting up the sign, somebody drove by and did a beep, 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 beep. Like thinking I was on this guy's campaign. I took the picture and I saw them pointing at me and I was like, oh crap. I was like I was doing something illegal and I threw the sign down and ran away. But
so the sign's not even up?
no, I put it back down. But what's funny is I didn't throw it all the way down the ditch. You could have still seen it. The sign's gone now. As I was going back, it's gone. Like somebody grabbed it.
Oh, why? Because I said the people coming out of that establishment have to vote too.
Yeah.
And it actually, okay, in their defense, it actually wasn't in front of the club. It was across the street. But if you were driving up at a certain angle, it just looked like, like the building. JP, I can't tell you how many points you got in my book yesterday because you knew I wanted that and it made me giggle. And then when you texted us, I thought you meant like construction worker. I didn't know you meant like stage name worker.
Workers.
Wow. I mean,
and if you go back to the picture, you can see them in the background.
Look right now.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good.
Oh, that's so. Is it in our treehouse gang?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Really funny. I can't believe it's gone though. Who would take it? I wonder if
maybe
workers came and took it.
I don't know, but if you told if you got the message to the right people, then maybe a message was sent of go grab it.
That's just funny.
I told him not to grab it though. Shoot.
JP.
Anywho.
I mean, you and your pictures.
There it
man.
is. Hold on. There's a balcony. Wait, where?
Oh wow. Oh. Hey, girl. Hey.
You're right.
Hold on. And I didn't have a chance to watch this.
I don't know if they're workers. They might just do the accounting.
One of them maybe is. I'm sorry. We're going to go to Twigs. Okay. Because I had the same thought, but it's
okay.
Okay.
I mean, we have like 2 minutes to look at Twitter.
No. We're gonna push it back a couple minutes if that's okay.
Well, don't forget
we've got Caitlin coming on.
Yeah, we'll push it back 2 minutes.
Okay, so just have a quick break.
So what is happening on the Twix?
Well, the good news is, guys, you mentioned it, but I also found it on Twix at the same time as you were saying. Somebody told you, calm down, it's happening. But on the Twitter, it appears that Alabama will call a special session and they will redraw their maps, which is great news because for 2 days we're like, hello. All the other states are doing it. Tennessee even beat us to it.
And Tennessee doesn't even really have much to do. Like, I don't know how they're going to do anything with this.
Exactly. And so thankfully it made the X. So that was a bit of news I wanted to share. But what else we got?
Oh, we wanted to pull up that or we want to
you can pull that up if you want. Absolutely. And I forget who I follow, but they put it up there. And then I saw CJ Pearson also mention that. So
okay.
What's your beef with CJ?
Come on.
He's wrong.
What do you mean he's wrong?
He keeps tweeting these well-placed sources in Alabama politics tell me, and then like others like Todd Stacy, like after everything he puts up, it's like that's not true.
Well, I mean, okay. In CJ's defense, Steve Marshall does have something to do with it. Steve had to file it.
Oh no! It's not the beginning part, but that like I don't know. I just like the last couple of days when like he's been putting up the tweets. You just don't
like CJ.
After every one that he puts up, Todd Stacy is like,
JP,
this is wrong.
JP, we don't think you actually like CJ.
What makes you think that?
I don't know why.
Because
go down to Caroline Wren because that is actually this is what I was really confused about.
And then Eric Daughtry also has the same thing out.
Okay, Kay Ivey comes out as no. This is right after Tuberville. And Tuberville put out that op-ed with Morgan Murphy, which I just thought was bizarre. the next day, they're just like basically foreshadowing what's going to happen. The next day, Kay Ivey gives the big middle finger to everybody, which I kind of appreciated her moxie. But then I'm like, oh, no. I don't care if you hate us all and are ready to just bust out of that mansion. Like, you got to do the right thing. And then Will Ainsworth came out, Tuberville, Speaker Ledbetter put something out. Steve Marshall was a little late. And maybe because he went around the 11th Circuit. I think he appealed straight to the Supreme Court. So I guess that's what he was doing. I just was surprised more people, like she mentioned, Garland Gudger, some other people didn't use that. It was such a red meat conservative issue that 99.5% of Alabamians and Republicans can get behind. So use that to like get some conservative points.
I learned something yesterday, and I'll say it really fast. Well, I'm going to say it. I'm going to press pause. We're going to talk to Caitlin and come back at 11 o'clock because I learned something from Chris that is very inspiring that has everything to do with what you're saying about Republicans and two ways of approaching things.
Write it down so you don't forget that.
I already did.
Okay, good. Hey, we'll be back with the Bushy brief. And you do not, I promise you, go get your snacks. You do not want to miss it. We'll be back.
Me, Beth Shaver, with Allison Sinclair, and we are joined by Admiral Brian Christine, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health at HHS. And it is a thrill and it is an honor, sir, to have you here. Thank you.
Oh, it's a privilege to be here. It is so fun to have come back home to Sweet Home, Alabama, to come see my family and to do this, to work with y'all, to do this podcast, to help get the messaging out that we need to, so the American people know the good things that we're doing in Washington, the good things that Secretary Kennedy and President Trump are doing. And so as we start off, I have to give a shout out, obviously, to our president and to Secretary Kennedy, because they are working so hard to make this country healthier than she's ever been, to make Americans stronger than we've ever been, to make America great again. So thanks for the opportunity.
So before we jump into those values issues and talking about making our country healthy again, which is such a relief, could you tell those who may not know you or have heard about you, because you are a legend, a little bit about your background?
Sure.
As we jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born, my father was in the Army. I was born in what used to be West Germany. Now, if you're old enough like me, you remember that one time there was an East and a West Germany during the Cold War. My father was a tanker. In other words, he was in armor in the Army, tanks. And we had a lot of armor assets deployed along the East-West border during that time. I was born in 1963, really the height of the Cold War. So I was born in West Germany. My father ultimately went Special Forces. In his second tour of Vietnam, he was really severely injured, lost an arm and a leg, got out of the military. We ultimately settled in Augusta, Georgia, had some family there. I went to medical school at Emory in Atlanta, and then I came over to UAB for my residency. And that's how I got to Birmingham. I did my residency in urologic surgery, completed my residency, and then I joined a urology group here in Birmingham. And I practiced with that group for 24, 25 years, really subspecializing in men's health. That was kind of my gig. Then I got the call for the nomination to be the Assistant Secretary for Health from President Trump. Went through the confirmation process. Ultimately was confirmed by the Senate. I was confirmed into this position last November. And here you are. So now I'm in Washington as the Assistant Secretary for Health.
Were you expecting that call? I mean, how does this happen?
Yeah,
you're just like
that's a great
Brian
question.
Christine in Birmingham, Alabama, and you get a call that you're the next Rachel Levine. What's her boy name?
Richard.
Richard Levine. Richard Levine.
You're
That's
Richard.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, I am President Trump upgrade from Richard Levine.
We would say
there
so.
you
We're
go.
very grateful
Yes,
for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I really think, listen, I think one of the reasons that President Trump nominated me and that Secretary Kennedy wanted me in the position is because I practiced medicine on the front lines. I was kind of a Main Street doctor. And I think they liked the idea of having someone who really understood medical care and delivery from a Main Street level. Personally, I think also one of the reasons that President Trump wanted me in this position, because there's really not another visual that shows the difference between the horrible Biden administration and the really righteous and good Trump administration, and the fact that you have me in the same position as Levine. I'm a man who wears men's clothing, and that really says all you need to know about the last administration and this administration. For sure.
I always thought he could have done a better job, like zhuzhing it up a little bit. Like it was like he put on some earrings and a dress, and that was it. Like, but we can work a little harder. But I think America, the juxtaposition is overwhelming from what y'all are doing versus what he was doing.
Well, no, exactly. When you look at Levine, I mean, again, his agenda was, no question about it, the transgender and minors agenda was so important for him. All he wanted to do was to tell little boys they could be little girls, little girls they could be little boys, and then recommend castrating surgeries, castrating chemicals, hormones, and do irreversible harm to these kids. So if you go back and look at what he talked about, mostly that was it. I mean, Levine advocated for removing any kind of age restriction on transgender treatment in kids. He advocated for those sex-rejecting surgeries. That's what we call them. People say transgender surgery. No, in this administration, we talk about sex-rejecting surgeries and procedures because that's what they are. And that was his big focus, right? I personally believe he was in that position as a statement. I personally believe he was in that position to be an eyepiece, not because he really cared about the health of the country. So I'm really happy to be in this position to be able to reverse and to right so many of the wrongs that the last administration and Levine, perpetrated on the country.
So in this position, you're able to do a lot of good. Could you talk to us about your roles and responsibilities?
Sure. As the Assistant Secretary for Health, you have kind of a 3-level role. One is to help form healthcare policy, to work across the different divisions of the Department of Health and Human Services, to work with the CDC and NIH and FDA, and work with HHS leadership to help form healthcare policy. So we help form the policy. We help implement that policy. There's also a communication role, which really appeals to me, in that we help to communicate the policy to healthcare establishments, healthcare providers, and to the country at large. Okay, the Surgeon General falls under the Assistant Secretary for Health. So when we have our new Surgeon General in.
And welcome back. I am Amy Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair and JP. And you know what?
I'm sorry. I just realized. Okay.
What, Allison? They look so pretty.
I know, but I couldn't see you. And then I might not be able to see Caitlin.
That would be
Although
bad.
That doesn't make sense.
So we're here. We're excited to talk to the one, the only. Basically, I hope you have walkout music, JP, because we need some walkout music.
I don't have walk up music.
Maybe
What would
Miss
Caitlin's
Bussy
walk up song
will
be?
tell us what they may be in our conversation. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Caitlin Bussy.
Hello, how are y'all?
We're good. How are you?
We
Good.
did it.
This is so funny. Finally, all happening.
It's wild. Okay, so what would your walk up song be? We
You
just
know,
talked
I
some
don't know.
baseball.
When you said that, my heart dropped. I was like, I've never had a situation with a walkout song. I don't know.
All right, think about it. We'll cover it someday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're on it. So, Allison, Caitlin, tell us before we dive into the things, how did we get here?
Well, it's kind of crazy. And Caitlin, I want you to go over a little bit who you are, because we all know you. It's funny because we go to events at the club, and we're like, you have to say the club. You can't say the club.
Yeah,
There's a difference. And every time I say Caitlin's name, I say the Caitlin Bussy. For people that may not know you, why is
y'all
this
are
so
so funny? You
exciting?
hype me up too much.
No, I'm serious. Tell us about yourself.
Well, obviously from Alabama. I think that's our first connection there. Friends with Miss Allison's son, Connor, and one of his friends, Cole. I think that's kind of how this whole thing started. We were chatting and Connor was like, my mom has a podcast. You're so funny. You should go on it. And then she reached out, so on and so forth. But I kind of started in my career in politics at Auburn University. One of my sorority sisters, her dad ended up being a congressman, Barry Moore. And she just sent like a simple text in our group chat and was like, hey, my dad's looking for interns this summer. Is anybody interested? And I was interviewed, got it, did the whole internship, fell in love with DC, graduated from Auburn in 2022, came back up to DC, worked at Republican National Committee for a little bit, worked on the Hill for a little bit as a press secretary, and then came back to Alabama for a little bit, worked at BCA, and then came back. Just going back and forth like a ping pong ball, but the limit never exists of how many times you can move back and forth. Both places will always be there, but I do love both places dearly, but I'm very lucky to live the life I live and do what I do. But I'm so glad we're getting to do this. It's been something I've wanted to do for a long time. With obviously the elephant in the room, my dad's background on radio and podcast, it's something that has been in my life for my whole life. It's never been on my radar to have my own show until Allison approached me about the opportunity, but this is so fun and I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I have to go back and just give a little bit more color to the whole how we got here thing, because it actually goes back. And I don't know if you remember, but I was a Young Life leader at Briarwood, and I remember always hearing your name, always hearing, like, she was everywhere. But I don't think we really ever did anything with Young Life together. I don't think because I think I was
came like a few times. I don't remember being super involved in Young Life. I was always doing tennis or different things like that. But
Yeah.
I remember coming a few times. Definitely familiar face. Have known your name and Amy Beth, because your kids went to Briarwood some too. Like, I remember knowing who both of you are and then kind of putting two and two together when we all connected. It's been funny.
Well, fast forward to when we took over Rightside from Phil Williams after he went to like fancy Trump land. We were talking about getting your dad, like, we were like, we need to do a podcast with Bubba. Like, it would be awesome. Well, somewhere in the mix, my son Connor and our friend Cole and you are all in a text thread together. And Connor starts talking about Caitlin. And I'm like, who is this Caitlin? And so he starts talking about, never mentioned your last name, but I just know Caitlin is all of a sudden shown up. One day we're at the lake house, and when Connor gets laughing, he's so funny. I turn around and he is like tears streaming, could not stop laughing. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, Caitlin Bussey is so funny. And I said, that's the Caitlin you've been talking about? And so we started this whole conversation. And after I kind of followed along and went to look at what you're doing, and I was like, and Bubba, if you're watching, we'd love you. We'd love to do a podcast. I was like, we need to get with Caitlin. And so I just randomly reached out and was like, hey, are you interested? And you're like, why not? Because I think you have such, and this is why we love JP and why we love having someone like you join us, because our passion is, yes, shaping the state and shaping the conversation. But if we don't capture your generation, JP's generation, y'all are basically right there together, we've lost it all. And I think you have a special voice. JP has a voice that can be used to kind of reach them, because y'all do life in like 6-second reels. And there's some issues that you really, and that's great. And there's a purpose for that. But there's some issues that we really need to start digging into. And I feel like you can do both. She's so funny and so smart at the same time. We're going to learn a ton. And I just am so excited to have you here. It's been wild to watch all of this unfold. But
I know y'all hype me up too much. It's so sweet. But I do agree with you. I think that there is something missing maybe within the Republican Party and I think Trump did an outstanding job with it this past election cycle, with really engaging in Gen Z, getting on the podcast, doing things that engage with our age group. I think the left does an outstanding job. Look at the situation we're in. If only our generation were to vote in elections, like, we would never have another Republican anything. But I think it's getting better. And I do think that there's definitely a space for it. And like you said, it's just a matter of time, for not saying by any means that I'm going to be the voice to like bring all these, young Republicans to wherever. But I think that it's time, and it's scary kind of the direction our country's going in if people don't kind of course correct. And I think that will maybe come with age and obviously paying taxes. Like, it's so humbling being on your own and, paying for everything, like everything's expensive. I think that in itself will also, like, over time, people will come back to more middle right. But it's interesting where we're at right now.
So before we talk about the huge visit that happened in DC this week that we were watching and a little in awe of, I do want to ask you and follow up on what you just said, because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
You said that your generation, JP's generation, our kids are like Trump did a good job. But what else can be done to go out and reach the kids that maybe even grew up in conservative families but have left the nest and are on their own and are so progressive? What do we need to do? Just beginning our conversation with you. What do you think should happen?
Honestly, I think it starts with, and I, just use Trump as an example that everybody knows. I think the way his cadence with things, and it's sometimes, bites him in the butt, but like you have to be more real and relatable. These politicians are so structured and so on message and so just like stoic all the time. And it's something that I guess growing up with all of us have our whole lives filmed with Snapchat memes and everything like that. Like everything's saved. We've seen all this stuff. Everyone's, I feel like, a lot more open and honest about just like being real. Obviously there's different levels of that between different people, but I think you'll find the politicians with the charismatic, they're just fun, they're real, they're out on the street just with their camera being like, hey, I'm here today, like meeting with these people, this is the goal, here's how we're going to do it, like quick little short, like you just got to get engaged with the audience first of all. And kind of, I think the best way to say it is like, I'm going to vote for someone that I want to go grab a drink with, you know what I mean? Or like I want to go to dinner with, not some like buttoned up politician that's like so unrelatable and old and just like has no clue what's going on, you know what I mean? I think maybe it's from working in DC and seeing the other side of things, but I think it's very obvious the candidates that are just so not like, they don't understand what's going on. You know what I mean? You have some that are very in the loop or very online, very, in the loop with everything. And then you have the ones that are just standing there, like very talking points, know what's going on. I think it all starts with being relatable. But as far as talking with kids and like getting them back on track, I don't know. I mean, I have friends and I'm a strong believer in like being friends with everyone, no matter what you like, agree to disagree, whatever. I think that the whole beauty of America, right, is that like we can all have our own opinion and our own voice and vote accordingly. That doesn't mean I agree with you. That doesn't mean I don't think you're stupid, but like, love you. Let's go grab a drink anyway. But I think that the whole left v right thing has just gone so out of proportion, it's you see the violence nowadays, things like that. I think everyone's just kind of sick of it. So I think people my age are kind of looking for these type of candidates to step up and just be real and honest about like what's going on and do something that's beneficial, not necessarily being like, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, be like, this is good for America, so we're going to do it. You know what I mean?
That's a good word.
Yeah. I say that all the time, that I'm like, I mean, I obviously am extremely conservative, but I'm not married to the Republican Party because we've seen so many Republicans just bomb in so many ways. So you got to just go for, the candidate who's speaking truth, who is out there, who you relate to. I do think it's interesting you bring up kind of being relatable and knowing what's going on. I see in DC, and I'm curious, you need to tell us what we need to know that's happening in DC, but do you see with like some of these politicians, how do you continue to keep them real? Does that make sense? I feel like they get up to DC and if you spend any time up there, it's this weird bubble where it's almost like you're so shielded from the rest of the world. What do you think the key is for these politicians that I think of like Tim Burchett?
Yes.
How do you stay connected to the people? Do they even want to be connected to the people?
Yeah, I think get back home. Like you're here to vote and vote on behalf of your constituency back home. Get connected with your people back home. What issues are important to them? What are they worried about? I think get back to the basics of like, okay, the whole reason this structure is this way is because I represent this group of people. I'm not here to get a million views on Fox. Like that sometimes, yes, that happens and it's great. And sometimes, yeah, that is the goal that you're pushing for. But sometimes it's like, okay, at the end of the day, I was elected by these people. This is what they're worried about. I'm going to take this to the floor. Hopefully we can get some, attention brought to it and get a vote done and fix the issue. Or I can use my platform as whatever senator, congressman, whatever, and like help the problem. You know what I mean? I think social media and all these things are a great tool, but they can also be probably like our worst enemy at the same time, with getting addicted to the applause almost type of it. Like you're doing things for the likes or the attention or the money, the fundraising, all of it. So it just, I don't know. I think getting back home and one of my favorite things I've ever been told working up here is like the second you fly in, I don't know if y'all have ever flown into like DCA, there's a certain route they take sometimes that goes over the mall. And it's like the second you fly over the monuments, the Capitol and all these things, and you're just not extremely humbled and grateful to be here, then like you need to go home. And he was speaking in terms of an elected official. But wow. I feel the same way, like working up here. We're very blessed and very lucky. It's not something, everyone gets to do. It's not something everyone's interested in or even wants to do. But I do. And, I'm lucky to be here.
So speaking of being lucky to be there, tell us about the big event of the week, King Charles visit, your thoughts. Yes, were you in the room? Fun. Tell us about it.
So, what's so funny to me about DC, and it may be something that people don't always understand is, and maybe this is just my experience, I don't know, and everyone who knows me knows I fly by the seat of my pants. There's never really, a concrete anything. Like, it's like, I'm at work on a Monday and a coworker's like, hey, King Charles is flying in town. You want to go see him at the White House? I'm like, sure, I'll meet you there at 8 a.m. Like, it's just so astonishingly casual almost that it's like, what in the world? But no, it was so cool to get to go and see all of that. I thought the things at the White House are always done very well, and it's always a hurry up and wait ordeal. It was raining, it was cold, and I was kind of like looking around. I was like, why am I doing this again? Like, what is the point? But then, I realized I was like, okay, I need an attitude check. This is very cool. Deal. Like, yeah, yeah, it's a huge deal. And like, it was a good, realistic check for me. Just to be like, this is awesome. I'm glad I'm here. But yeah, King Charles came in. President Trump gave a few very brief remarks. He was very funny. But it was great. It was awesome. It was fun to be there.
They seemed and I'm not a huge fan of the royal family. Just not. I've never, well, no.
I'm not, and I think they call themselves Anglophiles. Like, y'all, I don't even know. That sounds so creepy to me. But that's, people that I was standing around and two of my friends, they're like, oh, I'm a huge Anglophile. I'm like, that sounds like a slur or something. Like, I don't know what that means.
Can you Google that one? Is it?
But it's like people who are, like very fascinated with the whole royal family, British culture, like all the things. But no, by no means am I that. But I just thought it was cool to be there and an opportunity that obviously is sort of, we joke all the time within like my friend group of like everything's always once in a lifetime. But it was cool. I don't know how many times I'll be able to be like, oh yeah, I got to see the King of England roll up to the White House with the president,
They seemed like Trump, and I know that Donald Trump and the Queen Elizabeth did not have the best. There's so many videos of him like basically breaking every protocol in the books when he's walking beside her. You don't walk in front of her, you don't touch, whatever it is. Yeah. But this visit felt very kind of chummy and friendly. Did you get that vibe as well?
Oh, 100%. Trump was cracking jokes. I think two of my favorite ones, he was talking about his mom, like had a huge crush on King Charles, like when he was younger, I guess. And like, he was like, yeah, my mom, loved you, thought you were so cute on TV, like was saying this in front of the people at the White House. And obviously like all the press is there. And he was like, it's such an honor to have like you and Camilla here. You guys have been married for 65 years. And he like kind of turns to the side and he's like, I don't think Melania and I are going to make it that long. Like, obviously, it was just like funny. Like, he is so funny to be around and like interact with people. Like, casually, the president of the United States and the King of England are just like on stage making jokes, like lighthearted jokes. I'm like, what is going on? But it was fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome. It could be that they were cousins, distantly related. I
saw an article about that. I didn't read it. I just read the headline and I was like, what? Like, there's
wait,
no
is
way.
that a thing? Did you make that up?
No, I did. Remember Okeechobee Island? I promise. I didn't make it up. Apparently,
I saw it on Twitter somewhere where someone was saying like, oh, they're long, long, long distant relatives. I did not read into it though. I don't know the validity of that claim, but it's pretty funny.
Like to the 15th, like it's way back, but it could be. You don't know.
Could be. Caitlin, we've got just a few more minutes. Tell us, like, fill us in, give us the behind the scenes. Like, what do we need to be watching coming out of DC? Anything? What are you hearing? What are the big issues that people are talking about up there?
Oh God, right now, I mean, I can't keep up. I mean, one day we're on the moon, one day we're at war, when we're back, there's so much stuff going on all the time. I think probably the main buzz right now is everyone's still talking about funding, government funding. Everyone's still talking about FISA. It literally changes every day. And, I'm on the campaign side of things. So I'm kind of in my own little world in terms of like the races we're involved in and so forth like that. But it just different things every day. I'm so chronically online on Twitter, just like that's where I get my information from. But yeah, I always am looking for the next thing on X. Like everyone is like, what's trending, what's going on. And obviously it's different based on your algorithm, but I follow along different little news platforms just to get my behind the scenes scoop. But honestly, this week, there hasn't been anything crazy breaking. It's just been run of the mill. King's in town. He left,
No biggie.
Sure. Real quick then, what are people saying about the redistricting situation in the Supremes?
Yeah, there's been a lot of buzz about it. I think that, honestly, this is personal opinion, but I can't wrap my head around it. Like, what are we doing? And the Virginia thing, I think, was a huge wake-up call for Republicans. And I think now what you're seeing is they're trying to like course correct down south. And I'm like, y'all, we can't just have this whole like civil war again. Like, you can't just make districts so you can win and then do the same thing everywhere. I think that, and the whole premise of it is people are saying like it's racist or whatever. I think I fully agree that everyone should be represented and feel like they have a voice in Congress. I think that is the whole point of America. But at the same time, it's kind of prejudice to be like, okay, all these people in this certain demographic live here, so we're going to lump them together because they're all going to vote a certain way. Like, That's not always the truth. And then you kind of box people out if they feel differently. I don't know. It's just kind of a mess. And I think that the general consensus is like, why do we keep doing this? What is the point? And obviously we know the point, but it's like, can we just draw them and decide on it and let it be? Like, I think there is some serious conversation to be had if like there's some issues of like a huge people group that's just not being represented. But at this point, I think it's turned into how can we draw this to like get someone else in and like have power forever? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, no, like stop, like everything, just pull the plugs, cut the cameras, like let's sit down and like actually do this right. But yeah, it's just stupid in my opinion. I mean, the unfiltered take you asked for.
I love it.
And we thank you.
Love it. It's so refreshing because it's like a bunch of posturing. I do think Alabama is about to do the right thing. Ivey came out and was like, we're not doing it. And now I think that things are going to happen. Word is maybe even next week early. Mm-hmm. Somebody posted a picture on the Twix. That's what old people like Twitter.
That's what we call
X.
Twitter.
So we put it together.
I still say Twitter. That's not a big deal.
Okay. It's so hard to say X. Like, I'm going to go X.
Yeah, it's weird.
What are you doing?
No, I think he said we call it X, but we still tweet.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's it. Okay. Mm-hmm. The Gen Zers say yes.
All right, Elon.
But somebody posted a picture of the House chamber, and I guess they're rearranging desks again in preparation of maybe next week. So we will check back in with you next Friday, every Friday, the Bussy Brief at 10:30. Thank you so much. I hope you can keep all those people in line up there today. Yeah. Good luck with that. And thank you for being with us. You were awesome. We're so excited.
Of course. Thank y'all for having me. I'll see you next week.
See you soon.
Okay.
Awesome.
And she's so, because when I first pitched this idea, I didn't know what I expected her to say, but she was like, yeah, let's meet. And so we met for dinner one night, and I was like, it'll be like a 45-minute meeting. We stayed for like 2.5 hours. And I thought it is a good thing that I am not her age, that we are not her age, because we'd probably be in jail or like catching something on fire. She's awesome.
This is so fun.
I can't wait for us all to hang out.
Yeah.
We have to take a break, and we will be back with the montage and more news.
Happy to say that Dr. Casey Means will be having her hearing before the Senate on the 25th of this month, I believe. She'll be an amazing Surgeon General. We're going to work so well together. But together, we'll be advancing the message of the Department of Health and Human Services and President Trump to the American people. So there's that communication aspect to the role. And then also, the Assistant Secretary for Health can serve as a civilian or they can do as I did, which is request commission from the president. So I have been commissioned as the senior admiral at the Public Health Service, specifically the Commission Corps. So you have the U.S. Public Health Service, and then you have something called the Commission Corps, and these are commissioned officers. I'm a 4-star admiral. I lead the Commission Corps, and so one of the other roles I have is as a flag officer, an admiral, is to lead the Commission Corps of the Public Health Service, and that's about 5,400 doctors, nurses, pharmacists, therapists. Believe it or not, we've got a few veterinarians in there as well,
Wow.
dentists, dermatologists. We are Secretary Kennedy's tip of the spear strike force for public health initiatives. And it's really a privilege to wear this uniform. It's a privilege to receive the salutes that I receive from other members of other uniformed services and my own officers. To wear this uniform is a privilege, but that's a big part of what I do, is to lead the Commission Corps, because we really are the edge of the knife, the tip of the spear for public health in the United States. And I have officers deployed other parts of the world as well, primarily in the U.S. We work at Guantanamo Bay, for instance. We work with ICE agencies. We work with DHS. We supply doctors and nurses to the Indian Health Service, which is a big role. We have officers that work at FDA, work at CDC. They're out in community health centers. So we're all over the place, but that's part of my role as well.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot
I
of people.
had no idea.
It's a lot of people. And these officers, these are good men and women. These are good men and women who want to serve, who care about this country. And one of the things I have been told by officer after officer is they said, we are so happy that we have a new Assistant Secretary for Health. We're demoralized by our prior Assistant Secretary because we knew he didn't really care about us. He put the uniform on as a political stunt. Brian, you wear the uniform because you care about the country and you want to serve the President and the Secretary.
So going into this role, like, you're just kind of starting. If now, and hopefully we'll do an interview as you're leaving and we can reassess, but give us your top 3. Like, these are the things that I definitely want to get done while I'm here. What would those be?
Yeah, and so my agenda is, of course, Secretary Kennedy's agenda and the President's agenda. We all work for the President. He's the Commander-in-Chief. I work with Secretary Kennedy as we both serve the President and serve the people. And so the things that are really important to us at the Department of Health and Human Services, we know that affordability of health care, affordability of drugs, making sure we have good health care delivered to everybody, whether it be in a city or in these rural environments, that is something incredibly important to the President and the Secretary and myself. Also, we have our values issues. In other words, and we can talk about this, right to life issues, respect for the dignity of every man, woman, and child in this country. That's incredibly important to us. Taking care of men, taking care of women, that's important. So affordability, these values issues, and doing everything so different from the last administration and the last Department of Health and Human Services. We absolutely are guided by science. That's something that Secretary Kennedy has said again and again. We are guided by gold standard science, and we use that science to form policy and to do things that are going to make America healthier than she's ever been.
Okay, but Dr. Fauci says he is science. So are we Dr. Fauci science, or are we, like,
Nope.
how do you?
Are we science?
We are science. We are science. Listen, people can think what they want about Dr. Fauci. I prefer not to think about Dr. Fauci. I don't have much regard or respect for that individual. But who I do have regard and respect for are RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Bhattacharya, who was so incredibly strong during the COVID pandemic. He leads the NIH, the National Institutes of Health. I have respect for Dr. Oz, Mehmet Oz, who heads up CMS, Medicare and Medicaid. He is amazingly brilliant, amazingly committed to this country. We have Marty McCary, who is out at FDA. Marty also cares deeply. We don't have a CDC director right now. The interim director is a man named Jim O'Neill. Jim is also the deputy secretary at HHS, incredibly smart, incredibly strong, committed to life, committed to science. So those are the people I think about. I don't worry about Anthony Fauci. I don't want to think about Anthony Fauci. He did enough harm to this country. Yeah. I think about President Trump and our team now at HHS because we're doing amazing things.
You clearly are. So could we jump in then to those values issues that you've mentioned? Top of the list, right to life.
Yes.
And underneath that would be people's concern about mifepristone.
Sure.
Could you talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think, I'm 62 years old, turned 62 in December. This is the most pro-life administration that I've ever seen in my 6 decades plus of life. There's no question about it. The most pro-life administration that I've ever seen. I think the administration that is friendliest to religion and faith that I've ever seen. And President Trump has demonstrated that again and again. We stand for life. We stand for the fact that we know that life begins at conception. We respect life until life's natural end. We respect the dignity of the person. We want to make sure that we stand with individuals who believe those same things, and we do. The recent March for Life, you saw that Vice President Vance address the country. The next day, there was a breakfast that was basically for all of the youth, the young men and women who'd come into this country come into the city from across the country. There was a
Hello, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed the Bussy Brief. That will happen every Friday, and there's a lot to talk about, and so we restrained ourselves today.
Okay, real quick, I gotta make sure the camera's focused on y'all and not the flowers real quick, so don't do the montage yet.
Oh, but
I did
the
move the flowers back. I don't know why. I thought, I mean,
I've decided something.
what?
It's your birthday that kicked it off, but I think we should probably be like other shows, because we're kind of well, I don't even know what we are, but
What are we?
we're,
Abs?
we
What are we?
we're a talk show, and I think we need some flowers to adorn our table,
Like every
weekly,
day?
weekly. Like I'm growing flowers now, like I've planted my garden, but I'm inspired. So don't be surprised if maybe not even next week, but soon we just have some flowers like Fox and Friends. They leave their flowers all week and they look really pretty.
Okay,
We may
well,
need to do that.
That is a lot to commit to. I don't know if I can do it,
I'll
but
do
I
it.
will
I'll do it.
tell you thank you every day.
Okay.
And they all
We'll
have
see.
to be the same color.
Okay.
Each flower. the same
Exactly.
Wait, are you making fun of me?
Nah, I was just making a joke. Yeah.
Oh, because I do have issues in our garden if we plant different flowers.
We're not going to talk about that, but never mind. It is funny. All right. So let's do this. Let's do the montage and then roll through those stories. I wrote down the thing I wanted to share with y'all, which means I'll share it with you as well. It has to do with redistricting, but it's an interesting story that Chris Shaver shared with me. And then we have Clown World. We have a lot to do in an hour.
And we got to do Allison's gifts and cupcakes.
Oh,
at the end, while playing Would You Rather.
that's the best day. Caitlin Bussey, gifts, flowers, cupcakes. Would you rather? Maybe never have I ever too.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
Oh, no, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Never have I ever put up a campaign sign in front of a strip club, had workers catch me, and then I run away in the act.
I can't tell you, I giggled for probably an hour after you sent us that text. I pictured you running like a little boy.
That's funny.
Okay, real quick, just for I got to tell y'all because I passed it going this way, and it was on the other side of the road going this way. And I look by and I go, oh, I can't see the sign. And then I'm thinking in my head, I remember Allison telling me that she wanted me to get a picture. And I'm coming up the last opportunity to turn left and go, and I go, you know what? And I stopped and I got in the lane. I was like, I'm just going to do it now. And
That's
You got
funny.
Caught by the accountant.
I was about to say the same thing. Obviously,
one
they're
worker
doing the
and
accounting. Uh-huh. Okay, then. All right. So I'm sorry. I am buying chicken food while we're on the show. All right, JP, let's get to the montage.
Late breaking just into the WBTM 13 newsroom, Alabama's Attorney General has filed emergency motions asking the U.S. Supreme Court to lift the state's congressional map injunctions.
The request comes after the Supreme Court ruling in Louisiana regarding their congressional maps yesterday.
We gonna do maximum warfare against Republicans. Florida Republicans, you F around, you gonna find out all this stuff. He's like, oh, if you do the redistricting, we're gonna take out all your members, we're gonna do all this stuff. And what I said was, go ahead, make my day.
All these missing scientists who had access to classified material, have you been briefed yet about whether or not these cases are connected?
Yeah. I have.
And can you tell us if they are connected?
Well, so far, I mean, they're individual. We have a lot of scientists, so when you see, you put together 10, it's a lot, but it's, a very small number compared to what overall, we have a lot of scientists. And so far, there's not a major, sometimes there's a little bit of a connection anyway, and you say, oh, this is a terrible thing. But so far, we're finding that there's not much of a connection.
Fox News alert, it's decision time. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper has just briefed the president in the Situation Room about what could be the final blow. The U.S. military is preparing for a short and powerful wave of strikes. Targets include the enemy's remaining military assets, leadership, and infrastructure.
Lawsuits are being filed against Candace Owens. The day has finally come. The Dillon Law Group just posted over on X that on behalf of Brian Harpool, they have officially filed a defamation lawsuit this morning against Candace Owens, and that they will be providing any further statements. And right here is the official document that was filed with the court this morning. If you guys don't remember, Brian Harpool was Charlie Kirk's head of security.
I read part
Wow.
of that document, and I'm very excited that this is finally happening. But we will pause and come back to that.
Well, can we real quick just talk DeSantis and that?
Yes.
Because it's so, I wish, how do I say this? Well, I wish we had a governor that could lead the charge, but then just have a moxie and some sort of swagger about them while actually doing things. It's like, it's so nice. And honestly, I feel like he's one of the few in the South in general that has any sort of just like pulse of life of leading the way when it comes to things like this. It's like, Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries are going to mock, we're going to redistrict like in Virginia, and Republicans in Florida, and then they get blocked in Virginia. And guess what? Now that DeSantis has SCOTUS air cover, he's going to actually do something and then mock the same Democrats while they're doing it. It's just like, I wish, and I think we're about to get one, but I wish we had that sort of leadership in that way.
So, story time. This is what I learned from my husband. I'll be listening to this later this afternoon. Herbert Hoover, Calvin Coolidge.
Okay.
2 Republican presidents. Herbert Hoover did not like to ruffle feathers. He liked the status quo. Doesn't that sound reminiscent? Like, unless certain people get pushed into doing things, status quo is okay with them. Versus Calvin Coolidge, who knew that normal, which is the everyday way of life that we've gotten used to as Americans, the one where we can pursue liberty, justice, and freedom for all, like that life, that normal has to be fought for. Normal doesn't just happen. So you see Ron DeSantis and you think there's a Calvin Coolidge right there. That guy's going to fight. And that's what Calvin Coolidge was known for, is they called him Silent Cal, but not really, because he was too busy fighting for what was right. Too often, though, we end up with Herbert Hoovers, and they're hoovering their way to blah, and nothing gets done. And we're always surprised, like, could we just for once have somebody who's got a strong view, who has a backbone, and who's going to do what's right, and they don't care? And you're right. I think that's what we have coming. I think that's who Tommy Tuberville is. But we need far more Calvin Coolidges across the country and far less Herbert Hoovers. Their time is done. We're finished with it. Let's go.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks, Chris Shaver and George Grant Lectures.
I think back in the day, because Scott Beeson used to always talk about how feisty Kay Ivey was when she was lieutenant governor and when she was, back in the day. I think she used to be that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you loved what she was doing and sometimes you didn't, but she had that oomph. You can tell even in her commercials, I'm a high stepper, and she pulls a gun and a lipstick out of her little purse. So, but the reality is she's not there today. I don't think she's she's older. She probably needs to step aside, because I doubt she's even the one that put out that statement.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she probably doesn't even know that statement was put out.
Right.
And whoever did way underestimated the power of that decision and what the people of Alabama actually wanted, where you have like moderate and super conservative Republicans in Alabama that may be split on gambling or some issues. This one, there's not a split. And it was such a fumble for them to put that out. Now, there's actually truth in what they said, because Steve Marshall did have to file, but everybody knew Steve Marshall was going to file something.
Right.
Now, I thought it was supposed to be with the 11th Circuit Court, and I didn't know you had to go to the Supreme Court. Now, that might have been just a different avenue to do the same thing. And maybe by going to the Supreme Court, that negates, maybe it takes out some steps. I don't know. But either way, Steve Marshall did his part. I am hearing rumblings that the legislature is going to act, that the governor has kind of reversed course. But yeah, we need somebody with some moxie, like you said, that can get in and like make some things happen, because the game has changed so much from when we were all like 1980s, 1990s, kind of moderate. You couldn't really tell the difference in Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the term Phil would always use, and I thought it was really good, of we need a God-fearing gunslinger as a governor. So that's
good.
Yeah. I agree. And I think the redistricting is probably the first story we need to cover on top of that. But it's just the SCOTUS gave every governor in the South permission to do what DeSantis is doing. How many besides DeSantis will actually do that?
So Tennessee looks like they are amping it up and getting ready to do something. And then I think there was some state up north, I don't know, probably Louisiana, Alabama. Obviously, Florida's always already on fire. Like they're on it before you can even get the words out of your mouth, on it. And that's what we want, because that's what gets results from the American people. They're like, we want you to do that. And that's why Trump is appealing when he's doing what we voted for him to do. We're like, yes, more of this. And I also agree, Allison, nobody expected the pushback from Alabama's citizens to go, no, actually, we want you to do this and do it right, so that the lines are drawn so that they're neutral and they're fair. And the Voting Rights Act Section 2, doing that allowed it. And we talked about this before, but it really did freeze dry us like it was 1965. And it keeps people locked into believing that they still need special concessions. No, that is not true. We have made the changes, and now it is our opportunity to make changes as well. And for the 1,1177th time, it is still racist to judge somebody on their skin color and lump them into one category. That is racist. And if we want once and for all to remove that label from ourselves as citizens, then we need to level the playing field and make it neutral and fair. But that is the part that still blows my mind. It is not 1965. And if you're losing your mind over this, it's because you are a race hustler and you want to keep people trapped into that victimhood mindset. Not everybody thinks that way, but this forces it. And so I'm excited to see what can happen. And I'm excited for the citizens of Alabama to say, absolutely no. The answer no is not going to fly. We want yes, and we want it yesterday.
Yeah. And people like Twitter. Okay. We talked about this before the show. I'm just now kind of getting active on Twitter, and it is a whole different world. Like I've always been kind of a voyeur. It's where I get most of my news.
Same too.
Well, be prepared.
I'm
because
excited.
It's not Facebook. You know, Facebook, you've got like a few people that disagree with you that will be like, okay, Twitter, people have like come at me because I posted about redistricting from Louisiana, from here in Alabama, all these things. And people are saying it's wrong for Alabama to do this. And I want to be like, it's wrong for y'all to hold so tight to something so racist. Now, in the 60s, whatever, we needed some of these provisions, some of these as we were going through desegregation. We are way past that. And so I go, what if, because what they're saying, And what they're really is they're pigeonholing and saying all Black people are Democrats. Well, what if every Black person decided to be a Republican? What do we, is that okay? Like it clearly, when it gets down to it, it's about being Black. It's about the color of your skin. It is so wrong. And I can't believe that even the left, they are still in this moment saying we shouldn't be doing this, using Black people to promote their political agenda. It's disgusting.
The Democratic Party believes that African Americans owe them their vote. It's like when Joe Biden said, if you ain't vote for me, you ain't Black. And what was the other one that Obama said this last time around? I'm not feeling enough energy from the brothers around Kamala Harris. It's like they feel they owe, African Americans owe the Democratic Party their vote. So in that scenario, Allison, though, if African Americans were so much for Republicans made that shift, then we don't have enough liberal white women representation in each
there you go.
each district. So they use racial equality and equal representation as the front. It's not anything. Honestly, it's like you said, Republicans are viewing African Americans as they don't need, like, they can speak for themselves. Them just being a citizen is enough representation, whereas the Democrats, they view them as less. And it's like, I mean, the Democratic Party was the party of slave owners. So it's almost like the same mindset of, actually, no.
You're here to serve us.
You're here to serve us. They're not. So we have to make sure that they have their own district so that they can give us what we want. That's 100% how they view it.
Don't judge us.
Oh, gosh, I'm nervous.
Don't judge us by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character, except here. No, it is time that everyone is free to do what they like. And if you want to represent your citizens from your state and your community, get out there and earn the vote freely and fairly and clearly, without any hustling, without any double-mindedness, without any double speak. Because what's going to happen, according to Vince Everett Ellison, we've talked about him before, someday we'll get him on the show, is that there's this golden triangle in Black communities, and that's who runs the show. It's not the beautiful men and women of our country. It's just not. And they should. And many of them know, and they voted for Trump, and they're leading in their community. But right now there is a golden triangle that runs the ship. That's where the money goes. That's where the influence is. That's where the power is centralized. This, however, breaks up that monopoly. And that's what is, to me, really exciting.
It's good. And JP, to your point, I hadn't thought about this. If race and sexuality, all this identity stuff is kind of one and the same, this Title IX protection of transgender or whatever, like, what's to say someday if we continue down this road that we're not like, well, we need an all transgender district. So they're perfectly and rightly represented.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
And the specifics of this case with Steve Marshall's statement, I believe the proper summarization of it is like how you said, and how we move forward is, the injunction in the 11th Circuit is currently, we're waiting that decision. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Steve Marshall was essentially saying, hey, Supreme Court, you pretty much just ruled on what we're fighting for, so you could save us all time and just rule on this and go ahead and, and on top of that, we would still have to have a special session before, if we want to get it done before the midterms, and beat that, what is it now, 20-day deadline, 19-day deadline?
For the primary?
For the primary. Then we have to do that to draw the map. So essentially, for those who aren't, who may be a little, because the wording is confusing, and I had to actually look into more of it myself to like what it all means. Steve Marshall was essentially saying, Supreme Court, we're awaiting this, and the 11th Circuit said, just go ahead and please just save us some time so we can move on, because you just pretty much made the same ruling.
Yeah.
And then we can redraw the maps. And so I don't know if Supreme Court is actually going to do that in time or not. I understand they got a lot on their plate. They're the Supreme Court. But that's essentially what Steve Marshall was asking for. But you also have to have a special session on top of that to do the actual map redrawing. So that is what.
And just so people know, what happened was, if you remember, we drew some maps years ago. The 11th Circuit said, those are illegal. based on the Voting Rights Act, you have to redraw the maps to represent and to have 2 minority represented districts. So that's how we got the maps we have today. And they froze the maps and said we couldn't change anything until the 2030 census. And so the maps are frozen based on the Voting Rights Act, Section 2. The 11th Court ruled on this. Well, the Supreme Court just said that section is null and void. So what Steve Marshall is asking, like, hey, what you ruled on is now no longer a thing. Yeah. So, we are making a motion for you to remove this injunction. And I guess he just jumped to the Supreme Court. And Steve Marshall's a smart man. Yeah. Like, he knows what he's doing. He has to know that they'll make a ruling soon. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
crossed.
Exactly. Great news.
Steve Marshall really can. And plus the angle of this too, it was like an hour after Tuberville put out. I don't know if the two are correlated. I'm sure that Steve Marshall would have done that regardless.
Yeah, I don't think Tuberville has.
Yeah.
Steve Marshall. This is like the best thing to happen to Steve Marshall in a U.S. Senate race. I mean, you were handed.
Really? Yes.
If you do this right, you will get $1 million worth of advertising and free talk.
100%.
So
I don't think it had to do with Tuberville. I think it had to do with, and Steve, I think he would have done the right thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of the thoughts I had too. There is that angle of it too, because Steve is a phenomenal attorney general. But I think there's also the Senate side of it too. I don't know. Like you said, he would have done it regardless, but maybe that was a bit of urgency because he is kind of starting to go down the polls, and maybe he wanted something to hang his hat on, which this is a phenomenal
like God
one.
just went,
Here you go. Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's one of those times where you're like, okay, we're doing something. Okay. Because yesterday all day you're like, oh, really? Really?
It is embarrassing.
Oh.
People were talking about us all across the country.
They were talking about us, and they said, can they not do something? Like, can y'all not do it?
Alabama's being real Alabama today.
Come on, man. So, okay, listen.
Turn that on real quick.
I did, and I don't even know. But just real quick. What do y'all think when Trump says that the death of the nuclear scientists are not connected?
Oh, I have a theory on what that was.
Please, because I'm like confused.
His statement where he was like, we actually have a lot of nuclear scientists. It's just 10. I think that was him saying to whatever foreign entity was out there of like, we got a lot more than just those guys. I think that was a little bit of posturing on his end. It may have been telling on himself of like, to whichever foreign entity is taking these guys out, then we got a lot more of those where, there's a lot where those came from, but also that may have been him. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but him saying that he doesn't think they're connected, maybe also not wanting to let the foreign entity know that they're really on to. I don't know. But I do think the comment of him saying we have a lot of scientists was, my first thought was he's probably letting whoever know, Russia, China, whoever's doing this, that like, we got a lot of really, really smart people, and maybe make them think that they didn't really do much anyways. I don't know. That was my first thought when I read it. Heard what he said.
What'd you think?
I think I need to get my tinfoil hat.
What you think what do you think?
Well, I mean, on the surface, you go, okay, yeah, there are a lot of scientists. I don't think he ever said nuclear scientists. He said, we have a lot of scientists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, but we don't have a lot of scientists that study UAPs and nuclear propulsion. And like, this is a small select few that knew some of these things.
It's true.
So, but
Allison.
Then the Marjorie Taylor Greene Allison comes out, which actually I got called that yesterday by someone in a loving way, but goes, what if he's trying to, I can't believe I'm saying, what if he's trying to diffuse the whole situation because we're taking out our own people because they were about to be whistleblowers and blow the lid on the whole thing?
Oh.
And so we have to get everybody to look over here and downplay it because the CIA is taking out
That's
our people.
It's a fun thought. Because like maybe Trump wasn't in on the loop and was like, yeah, I was briefed on it. This is really weird. And somebody was like, Mr. President, you shut your mouth.
It's not Russia, it's us.
And he goes, okay.
I think I'm scarred for life.
I just am going.
What do you think? You think they're related though?
I don't know. I really don't. I'm watching. It's hard not to make them relate in your mind, like Lego pieces that are set here, and you're like, surely they're related. Who knows? Stay tuned to that story.
I'm gonna go get my tinfoil hat. We'll be
Okay.
back.
Jim O'Neill, the deputy secretary, and myself, we addressed those students, and there were over 2,000 people there. And we talked about the fact, what we're doing for life, the fact that we know little boys are little boys and little girls are little girls, the fact that we know life begins at conception, the fact that we are doing things like, for instance, through my office, the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health, we administer the Title X funds. So let me tell you, so just recently, because of our oversight, directed by Secretary Kennedy, our oversight over Title X funds, $2.3 million of grants that had been given before us had to be returned by Planned Parenthood. $2.3 million that will no longer go to killing children, $2.3 million that will no longer go to lying to women. Because of our oversight, they gave that money back, which is a huge victory, absolutely. We make sure that we're enforcing the Hyde Amendment. President Trump, Secretary Kennedy, and myself, we are strong for this. No federal dollars are going to go toward abortion or procuring abortion services. We are strong with the Hyde Amendment, and we are making sure the Hyde Amendment is being enforced, unlike the last administration.
Yes.
We have made sure that monies, that when you have youth, children or youths, young girls who are taken in custody coming across the border or something, that federal dollars cannot go to providing abortion services, because that was going on in the last administration. Just totally disregarding the Hyde Amendment. We stand strong. That's no longer happening. So for those right to life issues, we've been incredibly strong about that, and we're very vocal about that. Again, one of the things that impresses me most about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he's always been this way, he really realizes that God has given an inherent dignity to every man, woman, and child, and we respect that dignity.
As an adopted person, and I know as an adoptive mother, we are so thankful for those policies. And as women who've lived through the nonsense, that the lies that have been heaped upon us, that you have to kill your child to have a life.
That's right.
We're very grateful for your stand in that regard.
It's again, all of this is a privilege, but we have to do it for the country. We have to do, and we have to remember too that all of the wins that we have in this administration and this Department of Health and Human Services, it only takes one election cycle for things to reverse. And so we can talk about this more later, but it's incredibly important for us as conservatives, for us as people of faith, to be motivated to vote in November, to get out, support those candidates who stand with President Trump and his agenda. It's going to be more important than it's ever been. I know every election it's like, this is the most important. So I'm not going to use that hyperbole, but this is an incredibly important election in November. So I want all of the people, all of the men and women who watch this podcast, who listen to this podcast, and there are so many, I want them all to know, tell your friends, tell your families, we've got to be out there supporting candidates in congressional districts and Senate races that support the president in November.
You posted recently about gender affirming care, gender dysphoria, and kind of your work, and you just mentioned, right to life. That I would agree that is a life issue. Were you surprised when the American Medical Association came out recently and said that gender affirming care, genital mutilation, all that should be put off till adulthood? And do you think that we're maybe turning a corner on all this?
I think that is I'm so glad you asked that question, because yes, so the American Medical Association is certainly backing away from its prior stance. It was the Academy of Plastic Surgeons, I think that's the right name. The Academy of Plastic Surgeons that said, and this is landmark, they said just this past week that we recommend that we don't do those mutilating surgeries, what we call the sex-rejecting surgeries on anybody under the age of 19. That is huge. That is huge. And I think we are turning this corner. We can never take our foot off the accelerator, because I like to say that gender theory is like a vampire. It'll come back. You may think you've killed it, but it'll come back in the next hostile administration. So we always have to keep our foot on the accelerator for this, and we are, and I am, and President Trump certainly is. But yeah, I hope that we've turned a corner. I really do. This really started with, again, science. So we released at HHS, we released something called the Gender Dysphoria Report, and that was back in the fall. We released this report that basically looked at all the science, and we said, no, the wrong way to treat these children is to perform castrating surgeries. The wrong way to treat these children is to use sex-rejecting chemicals and hormones. The right way to treat these children is with compassionate, competent mental health care. Now, personally, as a person of faith, I personally believe that if the child's parents want this, I think pastoral care is incredibly important to support these kids, right? But we initiated that report. The report was released, and then we did something even more. We had what was called the peer review of that report. So we invited scientists, not all of whom were aligned with us, to say, review this report. Tell us what you think. Put your politics aside and go by the science. And they had to say, you're right. The science backs up exactly what you're saying about this. So I think things like we're seeing with the plastic surgeons, things like we're going to.
You guys, I don't even know how the day can get better.
You guys.
You guys.
We're going to go back and watch when I realized who was texting us and watch my face.
I noticed you were smiling in the mid. Like I noticed you were giggling and smiling, and in my head I was like, "What is she laughing about?"
Yeah, my eyes got big. I kind of froze.
Yeah, you know what? Deer in the headlights. It's fine. It's the way we've been all week long. I mean, like we had a great week of interviews. We got to have Caitlin Bussey on the show, and then somebody also we'd really like to talk to was texting, and you just go, all right, calm down, Phyllis. It's fine.
I had to make myself not do this.
It was President Trump. He was texting us in the middle.
Someday, JP, someday it will be.
It was somebody like President Trump,
but
was better. So, all right, well, I'm going to calm down and all right, guys.
Actually, we got 2 texts during.
We have texts. We have text. We're going to go to text. There's a quick story we want to cover, and then we're going to do Clown World before we eat cupcakes. Like, how long do we have to wait for cupcakes?
It's my birthday. I'm making a decision.
Yes, ma'am.
We are going to eat cupcakes while we watch Clown World.
Okay, perfect.
I cannot think of anything better.
Okay.
What flavors are everybody getting?
Well, whatever flavor you're not getting, because you're the birthday girl, and birthday girls pick the flavor. But I think you're going to pick white because I know you like white on white.
I'm white on white.
Me too.
Really?
I love white on white. It's my favorite.
Okay.
Someday I'm going to just get us. I'm going to handle it.
JP, your strawberry?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted you to say you weren't getting strawberry first.
JP, I got the strawberry for you, man.
Thank you.
I knew.
I'm going to eat 2 strawberries. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm great with that. You know what? I really love chocolate. And chocolate on chocolate's my favorite. Really, if I'm being no, I'm just kidding.
All right, what are we doing, Abs?
We got some texts and comments.
Oh, yay.
Well, first of all, this was from earlier in the show. Ashley, in the first segment, we talked about that one video from the scrummit that had cuss words. Allison, you were talking about.
Which one? Wait, which one?
Did you not see it?
Oh, is it the one with the girl in it?
Yeah.
That she's doing the live news report?
No, but listen, I was in angst yesterday, and so I didn't get to watch it. And I need to watch it. Can we play it, or is she cussy?
She says some cuss words.
No.
Okay, well, if I would have gone in and put censors in there, we could.
Can you go in the other room and do it?
No,
while we talk.
He can't. But if this is what your vision for me is from the chicken coop, I am on board.
She said, if there are bad words in that video, please explain so I don't accidentally say them.
Okay, let me explain, Ashley. No, there were no bad words. That one was all about Jesus.
Yeah. Not that one.
I sent a video in our group because I sent them the video you sent me, and you said this was the idea for Gen Z words. And that was the Jesus video, which is much more noble than the video I sent, which was allegedly there was a shooting at the summit yesterday. Oh, Abs, you missed this whole. Oh, my God.
My dad had surgery. He's okay. He's better. So I missed everything yesterday.
There was a shooting at the summit yesterday. So,
paintball shooting or shooting?
Shooting.
Oh, dear.
So a girl that was there, I think she lives in the apartments behind because she was like in a robe and a cap. And she goes out and she sits down in the median of Summit Drive. And she's got like a hairbrush. And her name's China Davis. And she's doing a report about the shooting because she says, nobody's going to show up to the summit to report this shooting. She's like, if it were like in all the bad parts of Alabama, they would do it. she is so funny. And she talks about how the victim drove himself to Grandview, went to the hospital. It is the
No.
funniest thing. But there are bad words in that video,
Yeah,
actually.
not
okay.
the,
So that's the
can't-
one.
we
not
can't
the
play that.
wholesome Gen Z Bible
Yeah.
stories. That was
Yeah.
So, well,
But-
since Ashley sent that, I do have a question. How would you like for me to? I'm about to release the chickens, and everybody's going to be integrated, and we're going to name the chickens. But Ashley, do you have ideas for me on what I should use to report from the coop if I ever give
Ashley
reports from the
lives on a
coop?
farm too, so I bet she has lots of ideas.
Okay,
for you.
if you could just send them, that'd be great.
And
Thank you.
Ashley, maybe your rooster got on the loose and made it to my apartment somehow.
That's it. That's really why she texted.
Y'all,
Because it was her rooster.
I'm not kidding. I woke up at sunrise to a cockle-doodle-doo, and I'm not kidding either. It was a loud cockle-doodle-doo, and in my head, I was like half asleep, and I was like, maybe I'm having a dream. And I went back to sleep. And then as I'm getting my keys to leave, I hear it again. I go, that was real. And I go out, and he is strutting like in front of my door.
What's up?
It was a
sucker?
big rooster too.
He was really pretty.
A pretty but big rooster.
Yeah.
But yeah,
His name's Jake. That's what we name all our roosters.
he
From
also
State Farm.
Uh,
Okay, never mind. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that look? What's
I
the
don't know.
Do you have another?
No. Well, yeah, we do. But I was trying to think why you named it Jake, but I can't think of anything.
Big Jake.
Ashley also said, "Can you have dank aura?" No,
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Why can't you have really good
You can
aura?
have dank aura. Excellent aura.
the two don't really go together. It's
Is it too much?
it's like two different eras.
What in the
of
world do you guys?
Gen Z slang?
Are you almost into alpha, like Gen Alpha?
Well, no, dank was like my prime middle school Gen
Just
Z
reliving
era.
the glory days.
Okay, but aura is like
I have a confession.
adult Gen Z. So it's two different time frames, you know.
When our daughter Wesley would send us dank memes, and she sent funny ones, I thought they meant the old-fashioned word. You went into the dank and dusty basement.
Mhm.
I didn't know they meant funny. Excellent. I am so embarrassed.
You thought she was sending you dusty memes?
Yeah.
That's kind of a good name.
Yeah.
The first time I ever had my friend watch dank memes on the bus going to a game, he was like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "Dude, let's watch some dank memes." And I remember the first time he ever heard of that, and he goes, "Am I gonna have to delete my history after watching dank memes?" And I go, "No, it's no."
No, we know.
JP.
No, we know.
Well, he knew you were kissing girls on the dance floor. He was like, I
Mhm.
got to make sure we're good.
It's like, no, it's not. But Deb Kane also on the Facebook.
Deb.
She said this, not us, but we were talking about DeSantis, and she said, Ivey's not making those decisions. So who is?
Well, we have our own auto pen crisis.
We really do.
Deb.
It's her chief of staff.
Is it Gina?
No. It's funny you bring up Gina.
I love Gina's name. I wanted
Yeah.
to be named Gina for a while, a period of time in my life.
I
Anyway.
mean, I think she probably has a group of people that
Decide.
that
And just
decide.
Boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop. Okay, that's fair.
John from Minor says three things, actually.
Wow.
He says, happy birthday, Allison. Mine is
Cute.
today. Today, he says, I'm
Mayday.
44 today. I love all you guys. That's what
Oh,
John says.
happy birthday.
Sweet.
Happy May Day.
He also says, I don't know if this is true, maybe. He says, dank is a referral to marijuana, suggesting that it is of high quality. That's the origin of the word.
Okay.
Origin of the word.
Oh.
I see. I wasn't going to say that because I grew up in East Tennessee, and
It's news to me.
that's what I always associated it with.
I didn't know.
He also said, right on to that, not a Republican, a conservative.
True.
Brad from Crimestone sent in a couple.
Brad.
He said, whoa, JP, are you suggesting that DeSantis steps higher than the high stepper? Better watch out. There may be some, quote, supreme executive power coming for you.
Oh.
He also said, SCOTUS didn't give permission. They merely recognize the authority that the states already have. Marshall shouldn't have to file anything. The legislature should just act. And if the general government wags its finger, we should just tell them to take a hike. I mean, if we're behaving so egregiously by drawing districts without respect to race, Congress can expel us from the union. Of course. Why would such respectable Yankees want to share a country with backwood types like us?
Who wrote that?
Brad. from
Brad.
Crimestone.
Again, he's too smart for his own good.
He also
Thanks, Brad.
He
It's
also
probably
said,
True, but
It is true. It's just funny how it always comes back to that. Allison, you just said, quote, null and void. The U.S. Supreme Court is not the only entity that can declare unconstitutional behavior and acts, quote, null and void. Alabama can, and we should do so often. And we shouldn't wait for, quote, permission from the Supremes.
I like it. I like it. We're all wanting the same thing.
Okay, Brad.
Action.
If you're still listening, like take that instance of the redistricting and the injunction and blah, 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 blah. What does that look like? Like he's saying, I mean, we did just draw the maps. We drew them the way we wanted them. And then we submitted them and the court said no. So we redid them. Didn't we try that and it didn't get anywhere?
Well, right. But he's saying that the fact that we were even blocked from doing so from the Supremes is unconstitutional, claiming that the state should have the power to draw their own districts.
Okay.
Which I think we'd agree.
Yeah.
But
All right, then. Cool. Good info. Okay, quickly, before we get to Clown World, because it's Friday. What did you guys think about the former Charlie Kirk security chief, Brian Harpool, filing a defamation lawsuit against Candace, after she accused him of attending a meeting at Fort Huachuca. I don't even know.
Waxahachie.
Thanks. To plot Charlie Kirk's assassination.
It's not. It's not.
It's Fort Huachuca.
Umalulukala.
Yeah.
Fort Huachuca, I think.
What do you guys think about this?
Well, I remember Candace saying that, like, she claimed that Erica Kirk was there the day before. She claimed that everybody was on the military base before. I think it's great, but I do think it's going to be interesting. And I think it's why a lot of people, not implying guilt or that their assertions are correct in the lawsuit. But when you file a lawsuit, you open yourself up to discovery, which means they're going to be digging through everything. So this is either going to settle it all, or even if they weren't necessarily looking for Lake Waxahachie, that's Wadawi. Gosh, there's a funny story there. JP, what are you laughing at? I'm trying to be serious.
I'm sorry. Brad from Crampstone just sent a hilarious text. I'm sorry. Continue.
I don't know what to say. Anyway, be prepared for discovery because I don't know what's going to come out on either side.
And I happen to, with discovery, yes. Lawyers don't do things without believing something to be already true. So I don't think, you know how they ask questions, but they already know the answer. It'll be interesting to see then what they thought they would find or what they believe they know, and then what is actually true. I'm delighted that they're going to do discovery because I think for Candace to put all these suppositions out there in public without ever providing receipts, that's the part that I'm looking forward to, just zipping it, shutting it down, stop. But it's going to be ugly because Laura Loomer's already started to throw things out there with receipts, which is what Candace never did. And point by point, starting with her husband, and it's already super ugly. So I don't know how this turns out. I hope it's not a bust. I hope that this serves as a reminder that if you are in the media and you are going to lie, this is my thought. You need to be prepared for the shut up juice that comes along with it if you're proven completely incorrect. Right? What?
Oh, not that thing, Allison. Did you hear something?
The shut up
too?
juice?
Yeah.
That makes me laugh.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty good.
Let's do some. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
No.
I was just going to lay out some of the details of the lawsuit itself and what Harpool is claiming. So Brian Harpool, who was Kirk's security chief and was present when Kirk was shot, filed a lawsuit in Tennessee federal court on Thursday accusing Owens of multiple counts of defamation. Harpool said Owens had first accused Harpool of failing to implement proper security protocol on the day of Kirk's death on episodes of her podcast before spreading false theories that Harpool was directly involved in Kirk's killing. Harpool cited interviews Owens conducted with Mitch Snow, who is also listed as a co-defendant, who says he is a former military official and claimed Harpool was present at an alleged classified meeting with senior government officials held at Fort Huachuca Army installation one day before Kirk's death, suggesting the meeting was held to coordinate the assassination. Owens claims Snow's account was 100% honest and expected it would lead to a full confession from the government about its involvement in Kirk's assassination. And Snow claimed he thought he saw Harpole at the alleged meeting because he has a, quote, gift for recognizing people. Harpole denied he was at any such meeting, claiming travel records showing he was in Dallas at the time, said Owens' purported evidence does not prove any government conspiracy to kill Kirk. It says Harpole's lawsuit seeks $75,000 in damages, but says he is, quote, a reasonable award is well into the millions of dollars, saying he has been harassed by thousands of people on social media who have falsely accused him of conspiring to kill Kirk. This is from Forbes. So that is the details of the lawsuit.
I was listening to the beginnings of an Elisa Childers podcast. Y'all know I listen to her from time to time, and she had somebody on that they were talking about truth in social media and in that realm. And Elisa was bringing up the fact that in the past, if you put a claim out there, let's say that it's in the 2016s up to even into the 2021, 2022, if you put a claim out there, you had to back it up. When I wrote an article for our previous employer, and I put statistics out about COVID and vaccines, there was a person who immediately reached out and said, I want to know all your sources. And I gave them to him. And I said, well, actually, they're in my article, but here they are. And today, though, you can just put whatever out there you want and you don't have to back it up. And so maybe if this lawsuit goes forward and everything goes according to the plaintiff's claims, it may put us back a bigger picture onto you've got to be able to back up what you're saying instead of just vomiting it out there and like, I'm just asking questions. Because we've lost part of ourselves when you don't have to back anything up anymore. We just have. So
Candace
that's my hope.
She might get sued into oblivion with the Macrons and well, here's the part too. If he can deliberately, because this is what you have to prove with defamation. You have to prove that the other person deliberately and knowingly lied maliciously against you. So if he's able to prove that Candace actually knew that he wasn't there, but still deliberately said it, then we'll see.
I think I won't even compare us to it, but being in the political world and kind of an activist world that I've been in Alabama for the past probably 5 or 6 years, media, it's so hard. And I feel so sorry for this guy. Candace invited it on herself. Okay, she just does. But it is so exhausting because people will take, again, maybe he actually was at Lake Waxahachie military base.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he had another reason for being there. He wasn't coordinating Charlie Kirk's killing. So people will take these things, small snippets of truth, and put them out there in the most sinister way. I've had people post my address online. I've had people post pictures of my family. I've had people say things about me over the years that could not be further from the truth. And you're always left with this decision of like, okay, I could respond on Facebook. I could spend all this energy. I could sue them. I could do all these things. That sounds exhausting. And then you're like, but none of it's true. So why should people be able to go out there and say all these things and put these things together in such a sinister way? But then you wrestle with, it's going to take so much time and energy and money. I hate it for this guy that is having to defend himself. Like, imagine you just want to raise your family, be a father. I mean, I don't know anything about him, but I'm just assuming go do your job. And now you got to put up with this crap. And to some extent, we've dealt with that throughout the years on a very small level. Part of it just kind of comes with the job. But in 2026, like you said, it's just a free for all out there. And unfortunately, I think the mudslinging and all this is going to get so much worse if people don't start standing up to it. But it takes both sides.
It does.
It takes everybody to be like, okay, we're just going to call a truce. It'll never happen though.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, before we do Clown World, Allison's got to open her card and my goodie bag.
Okay, JP, I need you to go get. Well, we're gonna need napkins because we need to get our cupcakes.
Our
'cause
napkins, they're right here.
Oh my gosh, JP, how are you gonna get your cupcake?
He's
You
gonna
have to
dash
eat it
over
while we
here.
I'll
watch.
just stand up and go get it.
Okay, come get your cupcake. All right, which one? Do I open the card first?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just say I saw this card and thought it was perfect for Allison Sinclair because it is. You'll see when you read it.
That's not a heifer.
That's funny. Isn't that good? Mm-hmm.
Can I say this on air? Has a bad word in it. This word's in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's your day. That calls for a big ass celebration. Smart ass, half ass, dumb ass, cheap ass. I am cheap. I am so cheap and crazy. Y'all are so sweet. Oh, they love me. JP, you know what is the bookmark in one of my your book that I'm reading right now?
Yes.
Is your Christmas card to us. It was
Oh,
really
really?
sweet. Yeah.
Such
Very
a sweet guy.
Okay, let me get my gift. Okay. JP bought this.
Yeah,
right?
JP. Yes, I'm
a
your
goodie
flower
bag.
girl. This is JP's goodie bag.
Is that loud?
Yeah, it's super loud.
You'll know me so well.
Ooh.
Balls of chocolate.
Oh, I love that sound. The
Okay, we need to eat this with our
E
cookies.
ESMR sound.
Y'all, this is what I got taken away.
Yep.
I'm such a boomer. I brought my monster on the plane and
They said she couldn't
JP
have
watched while I cried. This is such a treat. Like I never drink these anymore. And I said, Mr. Security Guy, can you please drink it? And he said, we have a protocol. I gotta throw it away.
And then as I giggled, he gave me like a.
He did, which is in our montage of
Oh
our
my
trip.
gosh, there's 3 of them.
Oh, JP,
And a gift card.
Well
What am I
done.
doing?
you're going to your favorite place. Every week, Sinclair has tzatziki's, and either it's chicken or beef, usually beef, actually steak. And
this is
yeah.
awesome. I'm
It's the
going here
family
after
meal,
show.
by the
Y'all
way.
are awesome. You know me so well. Oh, that's sweet.
So happy
happy
birthday.
thank
Happy
y'all.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Man,
Woohoo!
I'm gonna hide it. Nobody. I hope Jared's not watching. Okay, did you get your cupcake?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, you got to get your cupcake.
Okay, hold on. I gotta pack up on
Get your cupcake, and then we're gonna do Clown World. But
birthdays are fun.
it's your birthday.
And then everybody on Facebook like text you happy birthday. People like from kindergarten.
Yes.
You feel like $1 million.
All right, are you going white?
No, I'm gonna go whatever you don't get. Allison, I don't want to take your
There's
cupcake that
two
you want.
whites.
Okay.
What do you mean?
All right, just making sure.
Nobody. Okay.
Well, okay.
Hold on. Let me.
You're taking those home though, sister. Do,
Okay.
do your kids like different flavors, or are they
No,
like you
they're
and they
not- my
like?
kids are not getting them. I am.
This
I
is why love
literally
you.
had to hide the chocolate chips last night too. Okay. I'm
Okay.
hiding all this.
Okay.
All right.
Cor-
Clown World with cupcakes. I don't think it gets any better.
We have to do a cheers with cupcakes.
Mm,
Cheers.
I love
Cheers.
y'all.
Clink.
Love you.
Love you.
Happy
Clink.
Happy birthday to all of us. Something weird.
All right, Clown World.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
Stop the cap.
New York City faces a budget crisis of a historic magnitude. We inherited a deficit larger than any since the Great Recession. Years of mismanagement and chronic underbudgeting, alongside a structural imbalance between what New York City sends to the state and what we receive in return, have taken a toll.
Ugh, they just don't make them like Lee Harvey Oswald anymore.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I have been 10 toes down for reparations for my entire career, and I will also just make the point that the Green Party has as well. The reason why I accepted Dr. Jill Stein's invitation to run as the vice president for the Green Party in 2024 was I asked her about reparations, and she said they behave as though it's incalculable, but it's been calculated many times. It's 14 trillion at least that is owed to the descendants enslaved, and I'm in favor of cash payments.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I've been very intentional about making sure that my administration, unlike previous administrations, have people who work for me that reflect the community. Once upon a time, just to be very blunt with you, 2 administrations ago, 70% of the mayor's administration were white men, right? And that's just not a diversified approach, I believe.
That's good. Wow. Okay. I mean,
so how do we take Mom Donnie's, right?
Yeah.
His comments. Like, what's he saying? We need more money?
Yes. Yeah. He said they're out of money and we need more money, and they're not going to be able to tax it out of everybody.
So what are you supposed to do? Just donate it to the city?
Well, no one knows, because I think everybody walks around in shock. And so their ability to make decisions about the bad decision to elect Mom Donnie still has them like, wait, what did we do? And so now he comes forward and says, well, we're really out of money.
Yeah.
Like we out owe money.
He's pretty much laying the groundwork for higher taxes.
But he's saying we can't tax our way out of this?
He in one of his clips, did he not this week talk about the fact that we just don't have enough revenue coming in? And you're like,
he's really
he's dumb.
He's in a conundrum because so we're going to tax the rich. The rich are going to leave, and you're going to be bigger in the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't work.
Yeah. It's going to, like you said, his policies are going to cut with his pied à terre tax. He's going to cause all the rich people to leave. And then you have a smaller pool to pull taxes from. So then guess what? The same people that he's claiming to fight for, the middle, lower class, their taxes are going to have to go higher because the pool of rich people to tax from goes away. So it's almost like this is socialism 101, and this is how it works. But the New Yorkians are going to have to find out on their own, I guess. But yeah, he's essentially, I think, laying the groundwork for, we are in a budget crisis. I want to give you all of the things you want, but I need money.
Well, it's like the girl in Oregon who's the mayor, I think in Portland. I don't know where she's the mayor, maybe Washington State. Never had a job, still has her parents' help. She's 40 years old, talking about people leaving the state because the taxes are so high. You know what she said? Okay, bye. Like there's a type of person that they elect, and then they get in office, and then they don't know what to do because their stupid policies, the diabolical policies, don't ever work. So this will be very interesting to see what Mom Donnie does. Truly. Like, what is he actually going to do?
I'm curious about that, but I'm actually more curious about the people of New York that voted for him, because as this does trickle down to the middle class, are they still going to support him? And are they still going to be for socialism and the free grocery stores and the free transportation and the free, I don't know, unless you're just kind of a moron, how you can be.
Well, I think, I mean, that's true. I think you're indoctrinated to a certain level to be on board with him to begin with. But I think if we go on and on and on and go longer and longer and longer without the free everything that they wanted, because it does take time to actually, and money, lots of money, to be able to even start that process. I think the longer and longer they go without it, they may get more frustrated. But I think it'll take longer than it should, because they're already kind of indoctrinated to that point to begin with. But
wow. Okay. And how about the mayor of Chicago? That he cannot, there's just a group of leaders that can't stay away from this idea that if they're white anything, it's too much. Like,
so old.
It really is old. Find something new to talk about. How about turn your city into a safe place instead of worrying about things that no one cares about? Just be good at your job, attract the right kinds of people, And guess what? Everything works out fine. But no.
It's tiring.
It's exhausting.
Okay, quick. Would you rather? Give me one. Just one.
Hey, we'll come up with.
You got it.
Would you rather have a perfect memory or be able to forget anything you wanted at will? Give me the latter. There's
Really?
a lot of things I'd like to forget.
Perfect memory would be helpful sometimes. I'm going perfect memory.
I'm going perfect memory.
Are you?
Yeah.
I've already got a really, really good memory, and trust me, I will take forgetting over
It's better.
remembering. Yes.
Maybe you're right.
Because you remember everything, and then you think about everything.
Like that 6th grade missed kiss.
I just
Over and over and over.
I lay at night and I just stare at the ceiling and replay that in my head.
Could you call her and ask her for a redo?
You know, no. She's actually got a boyfriend of years now, but we still follow each other and are friends on Instagram and Facebook and stuff.
Hi. Reaching out.
Oh, y'all, it's been a week. Next week is a week. I can't even tell you. It's going to be awesome. I hope y'all have a great weekend.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'll tell myself this too. Y'all make good choices and stay on the right side. We'll see y'all Monday.